But first of all, Peter Brown.
Hello.
Thank you for waiting patiently while I got all the housekeeping and spoiling the new video game out of the way.
It's wonderful.
Great to have you here. This is it's tech time as ever. I saw over the weekend we put on a sorry, that wasn't dismissive.
As ever.
Tech as ever. Guess it's time to look at some feckin' technology.
Oh.
You have been playing the Retron 5 for the past couple of weeks. I know you've been working with those guys because it's the hardware isn't out there yet. Your review went up over the weekend, sort of breaking down the pros and cons of it at the moment, and you're going to show us it now. Can you just give us a skivvy on what is this machine first of all, and is it fit for the purpose intended right now?
Yes. Okay, so basically what this is a new system that plays a lot of old games. You have Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Genesis, but also the Japanese variants. You got Famicom, Super Famicom, and then Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance games as well. Now you need to have the original cartridges for this. And Hyperkin's released a few products like this in the past. This is their latest one. It uses an embedded Android operating system, which means that it's using emulation, right? It's not a one-to-one system. But the cool thing about that is you have HDMI out. You can do things like put graphical filters on. You can use save states if you're really bad at old games like me. Even though
old games are hard.
Yeah, and I'm really bad at them. So, so save states kind of give me an upper hand. But yeah, I mean, this thing it's not quite perfect. It's not quite there yet. It's coming out June 6th after like 10 months of being delayed.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's pretty great.
In terms of the imperfections, are we talking software stuff that they can like push new firmware to it, or?
Yeah, so that's another great thing. It's got Android, so they can update it. Right now, there's some incompatibility with a few games that use special chips. But it's not that many games that don't really work. Oddly, you can't have more than one cartridge in the system at a time.
But there's 4 slots for cartridges.
I know.
You can't just stack them up?
No, you can't.
Nah.
But that should change, hopefully.
Can we have a look at the controller as well? Because obviously is this the only one you can use?
No, you can use original controllers, Super Nintendo, Genesis, or Nintendo.
Okay.
And those can all be reprogrammed for any of the systems you want. And if you have 4 controllers for any system, you can plug those in and pretend like you have a multi-tap and play 4-player games.
Wow.
The one thing you can't
Wait, are you saying you can play like Genesis games with a Super NES controller?
You got it.
Wow, that's weird.
Or with a Nintendo controller if you're weird, like an NES one. But what you cannot do is multiplayer Game Boy games because that requires a link cable, and that's not really a thing with this. So.
Okay. But it seems to tick a lot of boxes.
It takes a lot of boxes.
How is this guy? Because it's got an analog stick on it, not a D-pad, right?
Well, so what it has is it's a pad with micro switches underneath.
Okay.
Which is good for things like fighting games. Show it again.
Hold it up to your mic and move it around a little bit.
Just right here?
No, like actually the thumbstick. Because it makes clicky noises.
Is it like an 8-way?
It like clicks at the stations, right? Yeah. Up, down, left, right, diagonals.
Yeah. It's kind of obnoxious and cheap feeling, to be honest with you, but it works. And yeah, well, here we're going to play some Sonic 3. Why don't we do that?
Yeah, let's hop straight in. So this is a game, an old cartridge that you had. I know people are going to ask, so I'll just ask out of the way. This thing does not take ROMs or anything of that nature, right?
No, but it's running Android, and if the nerd community has taught me anything, it's that they will hack anything that they can.
Right.
And that will probably include this over time. But for the moment, yeah, it's totally locked down to legit cartridges. And I collect games anyway. Like I use emulation when I have to, but for the most part, I really appreciate having the real thing. So for me, this is wonderful because I actually get to play the games on modern TVs without the delay present with upscaling from old systems.
Nothing a problem in terms of like with HDMI with HTCP or with anything of that nature?
No, totally not. No.
Awesome. If you have any questions for Peter, same as ever, put them in the chat, put them in the comments. I'll send them.
I have a question.
Let's do it. What you got?
So this is the Retron 5.
Yep. You're probably wondering what happened to the Retron 4.
So there have been Retrons before this, and we've had them in the office and we played around with them. Yeah. Is there a story about the Retron 4 you want to tell, or do you just want? I was curious about like the iteration, like what has been added in here, what makes this like I mean, has it been vastly improved over what you can get maybe in older systems?
I mean, yeah, basically. So the Retron 4 was announced about a year and a half ago, and that was what the Retron 5 is now. But then they added support for Game Boy games, so that kind of changed up the whole number scheme. And well, hell, they're not going to come out with the Retron 4, I don't think.
Was there a 3?
Once you get that
there
high
was a 3, yeah.
in the numbers, feel free to skip any number you want. That's the entertainment has set that precedent.
So is there a situation in which like you should wait until the Retron 6 comes out? Like,
well, so Nintendo 64 is the one cartridge system that a lot of people are asking for.
Right.
The only reason that's not in here is because the patent on the hardware is still valid.
Okay.
So once that runs out, I believe in 2016.
Wow.
Don't quote me on that. they should have something that will play Nintendo 64 games. The guys have already said at Hyperkin, the company that makes this, that they have that working in-house. It's just not a product that they can put on the market.
So how far away from me from... Ouch, yeah, nice work.
How far no away Chaos Emerald for you, Sonic.
How far away from having like PlayStation 1 versions of this are we?
Well, I mean, I think that's going to come down to what they want to do as a company, right? Because you don't have moving parts in these, right? It's just a cartridge slot and like an embedded Android computer. PlayStation stuff, you're going to have discs to contend with and moving parts and lenses, and it's a lot more places for things to go wrong. And Hyperkin is facing a bout of consumer lashback because this has been delayed so long, and the price was raised even 40% as well.
How much is it?
$140.
Okay, so it was $100 before.
It was $100. Their initial manufacturing process led to some errors, and they actually redesigned the chassis to support Sega Master System games and to fix the errors that they were experiencing. I don't really know what those were. But overall, I like this thing. This is one that they sent us for review. I'm probably going to buy one of my own for home because, like I said, playing games. Damn it. Talking. Yeah, you do it.
I'm not doing crap over
I can't talk and play at the same time. If you see Megabit, you know it. Basically, when you try to use old systems, which I actually prefer to do it, it's better on a CRT TV because the timing is right, the games look the way they should. On an LCD, they're totally stretched. You press A few milliseconds or frames later, that's when it actually takes, and that's not really good for when games are so difficult. You know?
I've got a couple of questions here. I'm going to get you quick. Anti-Vanti has asked, does it have any CRT emulation filters?
Yes, it does have a scanline filter you can throw on top, and it has the similar filters you would find in emulators, such as like Super Eagle and all those great naming things that smooth out the pixels.
Do you actually want to poke around in the menu of this at all?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, why don't we do it? I'll show you guys what we got. Turn on.
So there's that save state
lines.
stuff you got. You can pop these filters on just right from the in-game menu.
Yeah. So there are the scan lines, which take away some of the smoothing, but you can tell even with the scan lines present that it's a little bit nicer.
Noodle Legs ask, have you ever noticed any lag with any of the emulations while running on HD?
No, because this outputs native resolution to your TV, so there is no processing of the video, at least in terms of the TV, which before was the culprit.
Where emulation happens, or where lag happens. All right, cool.
So yeah, it's pretty great.
Sweet. Thanks very much, Peter, for coming on and showing off the Retron 5.
I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to keep playing.
You want to keep playing?
Sonic 3